being an HR generalist is probably not what you think. I actually became an HR generalist right out of college without any experience. So I'm going to tell you exactly what an HR generalist is. Let's get right into it. And yes, boo, you can watch this video if you have like zero HR experience. I'm going to tell you how to cross the finish line in like 90 days. Let's go. Welcome. My name is Mercedes. I'm the career love coach, and my thing is coaching Black women to help them make, create, do whatever we doing out here, successful, fulfilling, and meaningful careers. So I come on YouTube and whatever other channels you watch me on to really help with transformative information to help you tap into your passion, build a badass career. And it just so happens that so many of the beautiful Black women in my community want to know what it takes to be an HR generalist. And I love y'all, but some of y'all got it all the way backwards. So we're gonna fix it. We're gonna tidy you up, and we are going to get you on your way to HR Generalist history. That isn't right, but let's talk about what we're doing in this video. All right, so y'all know me. I have my list, okay? I just want y'all to know if you're new here, I use a list, okay? I don't use a script. We're just going off the list. So I wanted to, before I go into this, right, it's like I want you all to know like what my background is. So I told you all that I came into the HR game with no experience. I had a super amazing, wonderful, awesome boss who just like saw all of the potential in me, was like, come on girl, come do the HR with me. And I never looked back. So at this point, at the time of this recording, I have like, 7+ years. I'm creeping up on 8 years of HR experience. I told you I've been a generalist. I'm actually have transitioned to doing DE&I in the HR space, so still definitely an HR professional, and I moved to recruitment in the middle of that. But I'm just wanting you to know that I have a very broad range of HR skill sets, and I know how to use them, and I will find you. I'm just kidding. That was a really bad Liam Neeson joke. What is it, Taken? Anyway, here's what we're talking about today. So number one is what is an HR generalist? Like, I want y'all to not get it twisted. Number two is what skills do you need to become an HR generalist? The third thing that we're talking about is how to conduct a gap analysis. So you know that you may need to gain some skills in order to successfully transition. So we're going to talk about that. Number four is how to identify and repackage your skills and figure out which one of those skills that are already in your purse are transferable into an HR generalist role. And then number five, I'm going to teach you how, or tell you about the process of creating a professional development plan based on that gap analysis so that you can make sure that you transition, right? Like you have all the skills and abilities to be successful. Okay? All right, cool. Let's go. Oh, by the way, I think you should definitely stay until the end of this video if you were kind of like, I don't know, I'm a dip. Don't, because at the end of the video, I'm going to share with you my exact strategy. It's my exact strategy to do this in 90 days, like make that leap and have a step-by-step goal. I'm going to tell you how to download it, get access, and I'm going to walk you through what that looks like. So yeah, don't be trying to leave me, okay? Okay, I'm clingy. Also, okay, last thing before we get started, we're going to get into the meat of it. But if you're enjoying this video and you want to learn more about HR, you want us to be tapped in this community, get some of this HR goodness out of me, like make sure you share this, like it, subscribe, okay? Don't share all the HR, keep all the HR goodies to yourself, okay? The more of us that go, the better. All right. All right, so I'm going to start off with what an HR generalist is, because honestly, I coach a lot of Black women, a lot of fabulous Black women who want to move into human resources, and they have it 100% wrong about what an HR generalist is. So an HR generalist essentially means that you work within all different areas of human resources at one time, right? And a lot of people think that's a super senior role. And the interesting thing is that it can be a super senior role, but it doesn't have to be. Because, right, like you could be an HR assistant who is a generalist. You could also be an HR director who is a generalist. So it's not so much about the level, the role, the title. Of course, there could be more senior level roles, or senior level duties in an HR generalist job description, but that could be totally different from one job posting to another. So even if you have zero HR experience, like, let me tell you that, let me just say this. You can still make that transition, okay? And like I said, I was an HR generalist at the beginning of my career as an intern. That meant that I was an HR generalist intern who was doing all different types of human resources, okay? Do it. You can get that type of great, broad experience even straight out of college, okay? Even with no experience, okay? And some of y'all be saying you don't have experience. That's another video for another day, but you do. Okay. So we talked about that a little bit, but what is like all areas of HR, right? So I'm probably going to go find some graph, and it's going to probably be somewhere over here. I don't know, like probably where I'm going to like list out a couple of those things, but HR generalists could be doing recruitment and benefits and compensation, employee relations, engagement, training, onboarding, payroll, all sorts of stuff in one day. Like I used to shift through all of those in one day when I was an HR generalist. And it's really amazing because it gives you this broad perspective, right? But it's kind of like being a jack of all trades, master of none kind of thing. Are we still using that? Like I'm sure that statement has been canceled by now. But anyway, you get what I'm saying. Like it's a mix of all of the things. I also want to say that for you transitioning, we're going to talk about transitioning at the end of the video, I know. But not all HR generalist positions are alike. The one that I went into was very heavy recruitment, so I did a lot more recruitment than the other functions. However, I did still touch all areas of human resources. So that's something to consider. So for instance, if maybe you're a recruiter right now, or maybe you're an admin, maybe there are HR generalist positions that have a heavier recruitment load or a heavier admin role that will really allow you to pivot, okay? So don't box yourself into a singular idea of what your career could look like because you haven't done all areas of HR, okay? So do it. Okay, number 2. There is a wide range of skills that you can bring to an HR generalist role. I tried to pick ones that aren't like the specific job duties, right? Like you might not have done payroll, but there's other different types of functions that you can really use to help you in your career and really make that leap as an HR generalist, okay? So I'm just going to list them off because, again, my brain doesn't keep these up here. No script. So, 1, communication. 2, leadership. 3, recruitment experience. 4, training. 5, HR knowledge. I said knowledge, not like experience, okay? 6, teamwork. 7, project management. 8, technology. 9, problem solving. And 10, analytics. And so it doesn't mean that you have to have all of those skills. But like, for instance, if like you're a strong communicator, maybe you're really great at connecting with others. So that might make you a great first point of contact as an HR generalist as you're going through a recruitment process, right? To really share how your communication skills are amazing. Same thing with analytics or project management, right? All of these things as an HR generalist I did. But I had to learn them as I went, which means you are totally capable of doing the same thing and using those skills to help you advance. And there are, yes, a lot of companies out there who are looking for individuals that have high potential, who are really talented, who have had some experience, right? Because again, I'll be telling you don't have experience, but y'all be like, oh yeah, I hired one person. Like, put that on your resume, love. You have recruitment experience. I don't care if you did it one time, okay? You've done recruitment and you can do it again and you can do it better and you can help a company do it, okay? So consider this wide range of skills and how you can understand what you have and how that relates to a HR generalist role, okay? Across the board. Number three. Okay, number 3 is to conduct a gap analysis. So you might be like, boom, what is a gap analysis? A gap analysis is where you say, okay, here's where I am, here's where I want to be, and you say, what am I missing in between those 2 steps that I need to get, right? So maybe you looked at what, isn't a job description for an HR generalist, or you're using that list that I just talked about. You want to go through that list and say, okay, I've done recruitment, I've done project management, I've worked with technology, I'm a strong communicator, but I haven't done training at all. So I'm going to spend some time identifying what those skills are. Again, if it's training, you're going to be like, okay, cool, I'm going to take note of that, right? So later on, I'm going to share with you a resource. It's going to be in listed below, but it's called my career action plan, and it helps you say, okay, where am I now? Where do I want to be? And what are all the skills and experiences that I need to get from here to there? And it's sometimes where maybe you haven't had a lot of work history, so you can't really say that you've done all of those things, and that's totally fine. You just want to package your skills in the best light. So number 4, after you've conducted that gap analysis, so again, maybe you've said, okay, I have all of these skills, but not these. You're going to create that list, and then you're going to start to say, here's my transferable experience, right? So let's say it's data, right? So maybe you haven't worked with HR data, but maybe you've worked with other data. Maybe it's finance data. Maybe it's metrics for, I don't know, customer service. Maybe you, you manage all the metrics for the front door or something. I don't know. There's so many metrics in business now that you could talk about the type of data that you assessed and reviewed. And the fact that you can pull data, analyze it, put in a report, present it, that's the same exact skill as an HR generalist who may be looking at people data. So again, while you don't have that exact HR experience, the more the better. If you were a supervisor and you were pulling reports about payroll for your team, that's transferable, okay? So I want you to just take that list that you do have, start to really pull out the details of that, and if it sometimes feels like it's like, oh, I don't have that. Like, no, think back, okay? Think back on a time that you may have done something similar, because often, again, you all have skills that you are not highlighting appropriately, okay? I should say highlighting appropriately. You're just like, I'm not skilled, I'm not good enough. It's like, yes, you're good enough and you got this. Okay, so number 5 is you have that all together. You've done your gap analysis and you have those 2 lists, right? You want to focus on those transferable skills first, because you want to be able to like propel yourself into that job search. You don't want to wait for you to get all these right skills to move forward, because often you're going to be able to find that right opportunity before you gain all those other skills. Like 100%, I promise you, my clients do it. You can do it too. And my mentees. Anyway, so number 5, like, come up with a development plan, right? It doesn't mean that you have to stop your job search or that you can't get into HR until you finish or complete this development plan, but it just means that you're really focused and being mindful of how can I gain the skills that I need to move to the next level, right? So, for example, you might want to say, okay, let's take the training example again. Okay, I don't have any training experience with training. So maybe you're going to go out there and take a course, do a certification, do some job shadowing. Maybe you're going to try and volunteer to create a training course for your company, right? I know that we never want to be uncompensated for the work or to take on additional work, but when it's gonna allow you to advance and to grow your career, be bold about asking for those opportunities. Speak up. And it's going to open doors for you, especially if there's somebody in the company who's watching you do those things and you could maybe make a pivot within that company, okay? So be open to it. So just to kind of bring it on back. My bad. Again, identify trainings, shadowing opportunities, cross-training, and other opportunities where you can really embed that or do that in the workplace and get some on-the-job skills, okay? There could be people out there that are willing to help you advance, right? Even if it's not in HR. Okay, well, we are like getting on down through this video. We're doing really great, but we're gonna have a subscribe stop, okay? Because if you haven't subscribed and you are enjoying this video, go ahead and do it now. Oh wait, it's like, just scroll down a little bit. Sometimes it's like in the corner, one of these corners. I'll just give you a minute. Go ahead. Gosh, it's the least you could do. No, I'm just kidding. I never require a subscribe, but I would love you to come back. I'm gonna do maybe more HR videos. Okay, let's go. Okay, so I know this is what you've been waiting for. I teased it at the beginning of the video. It is my 90-day job search strategy that I use with my career love coaching and mentoring clients to help them pivot quickly into HR careers. And I don't mean like just any career. I mean like one that's fulfilling, one that's meaningful, like dreamy, beautiful, fall in love kind of jobs. Like, yes, you can do this in 90 days. Yes, if you have zero HR experience, follow this strategy. It will provide the results that you are looking for, okay? I suggest writing these, or however your brain likes to consume this information while we're talking about it, but I also will link below a list for you to get access to this list and start to implement some of these things in your career, okay? Bam. So the first one is that you want to identify a title. And I don't mean necessarily that it's HR generalist, right? Again, there are so many different job titles in the field that you could be looking at, right? HR coordinator, HR intern, HR assistant, HR lead, HR specialist. Like, look it up. I know some of y'all have some feelings about this, right? There's a lot of ways in which an HR business partner is an HR generalist. Like, okay, you could look for that title as well. But there's always different creative titles. So when you're talking about titles, don't let titles, even though you want to get super focused on where you're at, like in terms of level, don't let a title hold you back, right? Because there are titles being created like all the time, right? There's ones that don't even make sense now. So just go out there and look for opportunities that are within HR that you can tell that are generalist type roles, and like get focused on what you actually want to do, okay? Number 2, I want you to start researching, okay? So after you've decided, okay, like let's go with HR assistant, right, at this point. So let's say you want to be an HR assistant, right? So you're going to go out there, you're going to research HR assistant jobs, you're going to go analyze their job descriptions, you're going to go look at people who are HR assistants right now, you're going to watch videos about becoming an HR assistant, you're going to watch days in the life, you're going to watch all the content that you can training, anything that you can possibly learn about what it means to be an HR assistant, okay? Because you need that in order to do number 3, which is to conduct that gap analysis, like I said. So again, do that research, do that gap analysis, and then after all of that is done, like, do not skip this. You didn't hear me say resume anywhere. You didn't hear me say cover letter, LinkedIn, anything. Y'all be going too fast, okay? You got to get clarity first and understanding before you go there, okay? After you've conducted that gap analysis, that's when you can start creating your professional brand by using those transferable skills, outlining the times that you've done those types of things. And all of those things should be done in the first 30 days. So basically, do it week by week, right? Pull out that planner. Say, I'm going to do this week 1, 2, 3, 4. And if you stay focused on what I'm saying instead of looking at all the other noise, you will get through this in a month. It is totally possible. It's actually kind of easy when you break it down this way. But the goal is to say, I'm going to do this piece and I'm going to keep going. I'm going to get clarity. I'm going to keep going. I'm going to find the career path. I'm going to keep going. Okay? Now I'm going to keep going because I'm becoming a little bit of a broken record. By the way, there is, in that same link that you'll find to get this 90-day plan, there is also another worksheet that will help you to identify your transferable skills, okay? So do that. Woo! Okay, so that leads us to number 5. After you've gone through those 30 days, then you need to start writing your resume bullets, okay? Notice that I did not say start writing your resume. I want you to identify each and every one of those skills and start to write your resume bullets out before you even look at your resume. That's going to ensure that, 1, you're not copying over old branding. You're just basically focusing on what they've asked for, what's needed for an HR generalist role, and you're using that to be successful as you move on to the resume writing. Okay? So that's week 5. Week 6 is that you update your resume, okay? So see the progress now? So after you've done that, then you can start adding a skills section, then you can start writing your objective, any other sections, education, those types of things. But again, it's important that, especially if you're pivoting into a completely new career path, that you start from scratch, okay? If you have been struggling with a template that's going to help you for your resume, you feel like yours is outdated, old, I will put the link below to my resume template. It is like, you can pay for whatever you want for it. It's a minimum of $1 and it's yours. And I have a tutorial that comes with how to use that. It's posted on YouTube as well. But like, it makes it pretty easy for you, love. That way you can actually get through writing your resume in a week instead of weeks and weeks and weeks and weeks and weeks and weeks and weeks. Okay? Was my hair matted in the back? All right. 7. Week 7 is interview prep. Now, y'all know I didn't say LinkedIn yet because y'all be like, I'm LinkedIn. No, I said what I said. I said interview prep. Sorry, y'all. I'm just joking. I love y'all. So at this point, you want to start again, you've hopefully identified those skills. You started to outline them. Now you want to come up with interview answer questions to help you with that. And then you want to start doing either mock interviews or practice interviews with yourself about how you're going to address those questions, especially if you feel like you don't feel super confident in answering those. Without saying like, oh, I haven't done that before. Like, you've done that before. Like, let's figure out how to package it, right? So that being said, like, you need to start creating lists and stories of potential interview questions and competencies that they're going to ask you, and definitely keep track of them over time, okay? Cool. What are we on next? Okay, 8. On your 8th week, you're going to start applying, right? People like to wait until they feel like they've gotten everything perfect and they're fully prepared and they feel like they have all the skills. Like, no, go ahead and apply. Just do it. Just apply. You're going to find out really quickly of whether or not your resume is performing as it should. And that way you're not waiting so long to fix any problems in your resume if you're not getting responses. You're starting the application process quickly. So that's what you're supposed to do in week 8, right? So that gives us the first 2 months of your job search, right? But you're like, well, I would start applying the first day of my job search. And I was like, sure, but you might not be aligned, you might not be clear, you might not be branded. So it's worth it to take this time. That's all I'm going to say. Cool. So now after all of that is done, you've gotten some applications out, then you move into what I call like the strategy month, right? So you start to be more intentional about how you're going to support yourself in this job search. That kind of sounds like you quit your job. I didn't mean that. Like how you're going to support this long term. So in week 9, you should be starting to look at that professional development plan that I just started talking about. Again, use the link below to download the career action planner. It's going to help you with that. And then in week 10, you're going to choose a job search strategy. So there are 4 job search strategies that I teach. I have another video on them, but it's networking, skill building, research, and mentoring. So you can either, again, look at ways that you can reach out and connect with people who can help you transition into an HR generalist job. You can look at trainings, certificates, education for skill building, for an HR generalist role. You can do some more research. Like, even though you got that basis of research at the beginning, like, you can do more so that you gain additional understanding and you show up as like really understanding HR and what needs to be done. And 4 is you can enlist a mentor or a coach like myself so that they can help guide you and mentor you through the process so that you kind of miss those pitfalls. You have a good understanding of human resources, and it kind of helps you accelerate just because you have that support and you know how to navigate things, right? So that's number 10. You'll notice that I'm like, oh, number 10, that's it. That's because those other 2 weeks, you are implementing your development plan, you're continuing to apply, and you are looking at your job search strategy, right? So that's how you can get everything up and running in 90 days. And when I tell you that people who really follow this strategy, often they don't even get to the job search strategy, the overall 90-day strategy, because they did such great work at the resume piece that none of these other things were needed, okay? So really just think about how you can be intentional at every stage to get there to the finish line, number 10, right? So that way you can transition in 90 days. So again, use the link below. Speaking of a coach or a mentor, I would love to be your coach or your mentor, okay? This entire strategy that I just shared with you, including all the details at the beginning, right? Like learning what an HR generalist is, what do you need, what are the skills, how do I make that pivot in 90 days? Like, that's what I work with my clients to do. And I give them the skills, the knowledge, and the guidance from somebody who's like done it before. And I'm not joking, like my clients literally make this transition in 90 days as long as they show up in their coaching program, okay? So if you are somebody that right now you know that you don't want to do this alone, you want to be held accountable, you want to really see this change in the next 90 days, and you know you need somebody to help you do that, I would love to schedule a call with you. I have two options. You can either do that accelerated 90-day plan. It really gets you going quickly. You have a clear guideline for the way. Or if you're wanting more of this longer term guidance, you can select to do mentoring, and we go through this model either way. It's just 90 days or over time. And I think what is so transformational is that sometimes people don't know what's getting in their own way. Like, it could be the interviewing, it could be the resume writing, it could be the clarity pieces. And so I love doing the 90-day program and long-term mentoring, because then you get to work through all of those pieces. You get to have a good understanding. You get to understand really how to conduct a job search the right way. And so I think this, it's an amazing investment, and it has really helped my clients find their way in a way that they never thought was possible, leave toxic employers, get an amazing pay raise, have a completely different quality of life, especially if their career has been out of alignment with what they want. And so I've had so many clients that have been like, I've been looking at getting into human resources for 10 years, 20 years, blah, blah, blah. I haven't been able to move out of this particular place in human resources. Like, oh, I was in recruitment and I want to be a generalist now. And so all of that being said, if you think this might be a good thing, you know me, you got a good thing going, or could have a good thing going, I want you to schedule a clarity chat below. They're just 15 minutes. I talk to you about what you got going on in your career, what you feel like your challenges are, and then I ask you some questions, just to make sure that I have a good understanding. And then at the end of the call, I provide you some advice. And if it makes sense to work with me based on what you shared, I'll share and walk you through what the coaching program is, what the mentoring program is, and we go from there. So yeah, go ahead and schedule a call with me below. I can't wait to chat with you. Okay, so really quickly before we wrap up this video, I want to share with you that career action planner. So I'm going to put the pages somewhere over here, I'm sure. But the idea is that, again, you have some idea of where your career is and where you want it to go. And then you use these pages to really write out, what's all of these things that have to happen within this period of time. And then you break that down into micro SMART goals, that really help you to pull out the details. So, right, you could be like, you know what, I'm going to get that SHRM certification. Okay, I'm going to do that. Well, that's not a goal, a big goal that you could just be like, okay, I'm done. You have to be intentional. You have to plan that out. And so it's really good to use that action planner to really help you think all of that through. So again, I will put the link below. You can get access to that career action planner. The action planner is free. So is that other template for the 90-day strategy. Okay, so enjoy it, have fun, and I'm wishing you much success. Okay, love. Well, we made it to the end of this video. I hope that you are feeling super inspired to become an HR generalist. I hope that the things that you learned today make it feel a lot less scary. Again, you can totally transition into becoming an HR generalist with little to no experience. You can pivot outside of the industry within human resources. And I hope that you find this inspiring, and you feel like you want to keep going. So if you did, just let me know below how you're feeling, what you're going to do next, and if this video helped you. And I'm also probably going to link to somewhere around here my HR playlist. And until next time, I'm wishing you much meaningful success in your career, and I'll see you in the next video. Bye.